Hey everyone, in today's episode I'm going to talk about websites, what they are, how they were started, what their purpose is, and how to set yours up the best way if you're setting up a new website. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into it. So I looked this up on the internet. So basically, let's start with the definition of a website. So a website, per the Merriam-Webster online dictionary, is a group of World Wide Web pages, usually containing hyperlinks. So these are, typically if you click on a highlighted word or something and it takes you to another web page, that's a hyperlink. To each other and made available online by an individual, company, educational institution, government, or organization. It is also a service or business that operates via a particular website. Right, so obviously if you've got a business, you usually get a website because you want to promote your business, you want people to find you through that website, okay? Just a little short history here. So apparently the World Wide Web, which is now commonly known as the internet, back then I think a lot of people were calling it World Wide Web. The internet was created by a guy in 1989 by a guy called Tim Berners-Lee, a British scientist, and the web was originally conceived and developed to meet the demand for automated information sharing between scientists in universities and institutes around the world. And then that obviously evolved into something that we know now, which is, obviously a lot of information sharing, but it's not just between scientists, it's literally between everyone around the world. And very early, businesses saw an opportunity to use websites to be able to communicate and share information between their business and other people. And obviously it's opened up the whole entire planet and world to businesses and is a simple, cost-effective way that you can reach a lot of people. Now, a website, most of you, you've seen a website, you know what a website looks like. This is not new, really. If you don't know what a website looks like, then where have you been? And you've probably been living under a rock. But basically, websites are just pages of information, and that information needs to be put somewhere on a computer. We call that a hosting server. And that server, that computer, needs to be connected to the internet and up and running basically 24/7, so that your pages and your information that you've put on your website stay there and are live and available for people to go find. Now, when the internet was created, there was a problem, because how could you find what you were looking for, right? Initially, you had to know the website's name, like the domain name, right? If you put in www.yourbusinessname.com or .coza or whatever, you'd have to know the domain name. So guys like Yahoo and other search engines, and eventually Google, they created a website, right? Initially they're websites too, so they created websites that served as the medium and the middleman between you as the user trying to find what you're looking for and the websites that will answer your questions. So Google was created and other search engines were created to serve one purpose, and that is you as the user, you don't know which website has your information that you're looking for. You just know the information is out there. So you type that question into this medium, this intermediary, and you ask a question, and then it tries and finds you an answer. So Google, Yahoo, Bing, all these search engines, that's basically their purpose. Now, that obviously sparked a whole nother thing because, okay, so there's information on the internet, and if your business, you want people to find your information, right? You want them to know about you, you want them to see you and see your business and see your brochure and see your prices and your products, etc. Now, how do you do that? Using a search engine. How do you make the search engine want to show you instead of some other competitor? And that's basically how search engine optimization then was born. So these search engines, they would give some guidelines to people in terms of, okay, this is what you can do so that we as a search engine company and our search engine algorithm or software would prefer your website over others. Like, these are some of the pointers and the steps that you can take to make it easier for us to find your website, and then also easier for us to want to recommend it to others. And that's kind of how search engine optimization was born. Guys started taking this advice that was freely published and then started implementing that into their websites, and then they would start seeing changes in results and improvements of their website rankings. Now, obviously it went even further than this, because as guys were testing more and more theories and making different changes to their websites, they would notice certain things happening. They would add some page regarding some topic or keyword and then see, oh, well, now my website page is ranking well for that. Or they would make some change and then see a negative effect. Maybe the rankings dropped, and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people eventually doing these actions and activities. It became clear what kind of things would benefit your website in terms of being shown in search results, and what kinds of things would maybe not benefit and would be a negative thing. So this is kind of how the internet evolved, right? It was just websites. You didn't know necessarily the website address, you had to find it. So you went to a search engine, you filled in information in the search engine, now you found the website. And as a business owner, you created a website, and this is where a lot of the businesses made the mistake. They just created the website and they spent a lot of time on that, and they got a beautiful website and they said, great, it's there now, it's beautiful, and it has wonderful information. So why shouldn't the search engine love my website and show it to other people? And they kind of just stopped there, and they said, that's good enough. I think because I like it and I think it's a good looking website, search engines will like it too, and others will find it. And this is the viewpoint still today out there with a lot of different people. A lot of small businesses have this idea or concept. They think that you just create the website, and if it looks good and if it has great information, then Google and other search engines will like it, and they would want to recommend it to people searching for their business or relevant keywords. Unfortunately, it does not work that way at all. There are probably 1,000 things that you can do to improve your website and to make it so that search engines actually want to send people to your website for different search results. Now, this podcast, I'm not going to go into a lot of the technicalities around that, but I am going to give at least just one single very basic tip. Especially if you're creating a new website, you need to do this. This is fundamental, right? And Google is the biggest search engine right now in the world. It has the largest market share out of all the other search engines. It's basically leading the pack. It is the king. Everyone goes to Google. I don't know how long it will stay that way, but as of 2024, October 2024, this is the scene. This is what is going on. Google is still the king. Maybe other AI platforms like ChatGPT, etc., will eventually take away this top spot. But for now, Google is still the king. Now, if you create a website and you just publish and you put it out there, that does not guarantee that Google will even know it exists. Google has limited resources, right? They have a lot of resources. They have lots of servers, they have code, they have spiders, they call them, or basically little pieces of code that operate kind of in an autonomous way and that go out onto the internet, and these little programs, they try and go and find your website, other website, they try and find pages, and then if they like something that they see, or they think a page is relevant for something, they would index it, right? So indexing just simply means they're taking a snapshot of your page, and they've decided that, okay, if someone searches for a relevant keyword for this page, we will show this result somewhere in the rankings, right? Rankings meaning it's either going to be at the top somewhere, like first page, or maybe page 10, 20, you don't know where, right? Rankings is just the order of the results. So, just creating your website doesn't guarantee Google even finding the pages on your website and then indexing them so that you can then appear in the rankings. So how do you make sure Google finds your website? Simple. You have to go to a place called Google Search Console, right? So you can just put this into Google, you can search Google Search Console, right? You just do that, and then you should find this page where it just says Start Now, and you're going to click on that button, and then once you start that process, it'll ask you for a few things, and basically what you're doing is you're establishing the communication line between your website and Google, right? This is so that Google knows, there's a new website here that I should come and check in on every once in a while. There are other technicalities around that. You need to submit something that's called a sitemap, right? I don't want to get into too many technical points on this, but basically a sitemap is just a file that tells Google this is all the pages on your website, so that Google doesn't need to go find them. You're kind of making it easy for Google to see what you got on your website, so that when it does send its spiders or crawlers or the little programs that run through it, they have an easier job of it to find all the content on there and then index your pages. Now, just simply doing this is at least 90% better than what a lot of the websites out there are doing, right? A lot of guys I've seen, they just put up a website and they wait for Google to just find it naturally, which can take a year, right? I've literally, in helping lots of people with search engine optimization, I've come across websites where the website's been around for like a year, but Google just never found it because this communication line with Google was just never established. So it's very important that you do that, especially with a brand new website, especially if you don't have other websites linking to your website. You're going to have a tough time for Google to find that website and index it so that you start showing up in search results. So, okay, if you need help with getting your website connected to Google Search Console and getting that communication line established, you can reach out to me and I can help you with that. It's very simple. You can also go onto YouTube. You can find lots of videos on how to set up Google Search Console. I'm sure you can find some sort of a help video for that, instructional video that'll take you through the whole process. It's very simple. And once that's up, now you at least have established the communication line. You've given Google your sitemap and you've given Google an overview of what's on your website, and you should start seeing some of your pages be indexed within a couple of weeks after setting that up. Now, it doesn't stop there. because you could still run into some issues depending on how your website was set up. You might still run into problems where even though you've got that communication line established, Google just isn't indexing your pages effectively. And that's something I'll probably cover in another podcast or video. But basically, you have to keep checking in on the status of your pages, if Google is indexing them or not. And then you gotta handle any issues or problems that come up regarding that, to ensure that Google is aware of every single one of your website's pages, because every page that you have is another opportunity to be ranking for a specific keyword. So the more content, the more pages, the more articles that Google can index, meaning they've reviewed it, they've decided where it should be in the rankings. The more you can have of this, the better your chances of your business appearing in Google search results. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. It's just a little short episode this week, a little bit of background information and just a useful tip on how to get your website onto Google if it's a brand new website, and how to get that communication line between your website and Google established. If you like this video and you like this podcast, then please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.